To darkness.
Hello everyone, this is Door to Darkness, and this video is slightly different. I don't usually do these kinds of videos, but I saw something yesterday that made me quite worried. Star Wars Battlefront 3, or Star Wars Battlefront as it is now, is a game that I've been waiting for a very long time. Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2 were both two of my favourite games on the PS2, but it looked like we would never get the third game in the series. I know there were some games on the PSP, but I haven't really played them. But now with EA having control of it and DICE, it looked like I would finally get my wish. The game I've been waiting for is coming out Christmas 2015, which is good news, obviously. EA announced it yesterday. However, what they said afterwards is not making me very happy. They said it will be releasing holiday 2015, Christmas 2015, and it will be DICE's major first-person shooter of 2015. No. I don't want a first-person shooter. Star Wars Battlefront is not a first-person shooter. It is a third-person game where you control a character that you can see on the screen, because that just works with Star Wars. I've played tons of Star Wars games, and most of them have been third-person, and the first-person ones haven't been that good, like Star Wars Republic Commando. It was alright, but it wasn't nearly as good as some of the other games. And what was it? A first-person shooter. I wanted DICE to make an upgraded version of Star Wars Battlefront, to keep pretty much the same elements that had been in the first two games, and improve them the way that Star Wars Battlefront 2, in my opinion, improved on those elements from the first game. If they're turning it into a first-person shooter, then they're not improving on elements, they're changing the game. Yes, people might say there was an option to play in first-person, but it was an option, and it wasn't really part of the game. It was all about playing in third-person, but if you preferred it, then you could play in first-person. But if they're just going to turn it into first-person, then it's not going to be Star Wars Battlefront anymore. It's going to be Star Wars Battlefield. My worry right from the start when EA was making Star Wars Battlefront and DICE making it was that they were just going to turn it into Star Wars graphics over a Battlefield game, and that's not what I want. I haven't been waiting for 10 years or thereabouts for Battlefield. They've made Battlefield games loads. I don't want that. I want Battlefront. Battlefield, I'm sure it's a perfectly good series in its own right. I've never really played it, but given that its main competitor is Call of Duty, that doesn't really fill me with a lot of confidence if that's the direction they want to go in for Star Wars Battlefront 3. I actually had a thought about that a few months ago, that I worried that they were going to turn it into a first-person shooter, and if they did, far from being one of the games that I am most looking forward to playing in the 8th generation. You know, if you saw my top 10 PS4 games, it was in second place, which just shows how much I've been waiting for this game. But it will go from that, as a first-person shooter, it now goes to a game I wouldn't be sure if I was going to get at all, which is sad considering how much I've been waiting for it for so long. And I know some people like first-person shooters. First-person shooters are popular. That's fine. They had the option in the first two games. Why not just keep it like that? It's a third-person shooter. I always think, what's the point in designing these main characters and designing the way they look and making them look really good, like the stormtroopers and all those sort of people. What's the point in doing all that if you're just going to see their hands and the weapon they're carrying? The worst thing, I think, is this translates into playing as a Jedi. Now, I can sort of see how first-person shooter would kind of work when you're playing as a clone or a stormtrooper, though I don't think it should happen. Playing as a Jedi, though, that is something completely different. If they want to go down the route of first-person shooter, they either have to remove that feature, which would be horrible because that was one of the best parts of Star Wars Battlefront 2. For me, one of the reasons it's set above Battlefront 1 in my memory. And it would just, or they could change it so that you play as a Jedi in first person, and that would just be weird that you can only see a lightsaber. Playing as a Jedi in first person is not something that I want to do. I don't want it to be a first person shooter at all. I'm okay if the option's there like it was in the first two games, but I fell in love with Star Wars Battlefront as it was. And as much as I understand times move on, you've got to change. Don't change things too much. Now, EA, DICE, in the incredibly unlikely event that you're watching this video, please don't fix something that isn't broken. Don't change a formula that works so well. Don't make Star Wars Battlefront a first-person shooter. I know you only care about money. It's understandable, you're a business. I may not be giving you my money if you turn it into a first-person shooter, because I don't know if I'd want to play that game. I don't know if I'd worry too much that it would ruin my view of Star Wars Battlefront as a series, that it will go from being one of my top franchises in gaming of all time, it would go from that to being just another generic first person shooter, some Star Wars Call of Duty. So please just keep it as it was. Don't ruin something that's so great. Don't turn Star Wars Battlefront into Star Wars Battlefield. Anyway, that's it. So please like this video if you did. Comment your thoughts on this sort of news. Subscribe to my channel if you want to watch. Well, I don't really do this much, but if you're interested in Kingdom Hearts, then subscribe to my channel because I talk about that a lot. And thank you for watching.
And as someone once said, do or do not. There is no try.